You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Boardwalk Empire After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Boardwalk Empire After Show.
Okay, Bing is for doing, and we are so happy and yet so sad to be doing the season finale of Boardwalk Empire, Season 3, Episode 12, Margate Sands. I don't know what that means. But my God, who cares? It was an amazing episode.
I believe Margate Sands, that's where
Gyp died?
Gyp. No, they were going there, or they mentioned it throughout the episode a couple times.
Now I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
All right, fans, come save us. I'm Keven Undergaro. I am here next to me with...
Bethany Jaber, how are you doing?
Who's across from us?
Ebony K. Williams.
And Kristen Carney.
Yes, we're full power with our own Marissa in the booth. And, you know, we always break down the show into different subjects. And tonight, we're actually going to go chronologically because I think that's just the best way to do the show justice. A couple opening thoughts from our super fan, Mike August. And he said, it was interesting when Gyp said to Gillian, I'm going to treat you like a queen. He feels that's another reference to the boardwalk chessboard. And Harrow was the other knight as he expected. And it was fitting that Gillian was in black lingerie, as she's a Black Widow type. And, of course, there was more talk of horses, and alas, Nucky calls checkmate to a fallen Gyp. So, just kind of interesting. And I know there's, of course...
Well done, Michael.
Yes, no, and my goodness, and he
Excellent,
totally
Michael.
saved us all season. And we look forward to him next year. And I do have some catches of the week, great ones from him. I have some great fan mail later on. A pretty good portion from Jason with his blog. But anyway, let's start with tonight's episode, which we cheered, we screamed. It was amazing.
It was almost the opening of this felt to me like the opening of a Broadway musical. They had that drum solo in the back, and it was reminiscent of cabaret music. And then the series of just in the beginning, the silhouettes of the men falling to the gunfire.
We just knew it was gonna be a crazy episode right from the beginning.
Yeah, and series to different cuts of more of like all of this happening, and then it ends with applause and laughter with the mayor of the town
Saying I'm in charge.
Yeah. But it was it really felt like a musical opening number, didn't it?
And you notice the war was back and forth.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was glad because at first I thought, oh my goodness, it's just going to be Capone kicking ass, and the war will be won at the beginning, and then the rest of the episode will be anticlimactic. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. But it was a great back and forth. And also I want to just give a shout out to Terrence Winter, who co-wrote it, and of course, you know, my favorite TV director, Tim Van Patten. So I knew we were in for something really special tonight. So beginning with this, that's great that you even picked up that it ended with the laughter. I didn't even pick that up. But we get to see Nucky, Capone, and Chalky all working together in the lumberyard.
Yes.
And we see the trouble.
Bit of a power struggle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, Nucky, we've talked about how great he is at kind of wearing all these hats and balancing all these powerful egos. Capone, not so much, you know. So it was very interesting to kind of see. By the middle of the episode, we saw them kind of get some balance there, but it was a rough start for sure.
I'm so glad, though, that Capone got to see Chalky and know Chalky, because this whole time, Chalky's been there and Capone hasn't known of Chalky.
No.
And so I like that those two powers, although, you know, they could bash heads a little bit, can come to a little bit of an understanding by the end. I just find the two of them together insanely great characters, but together, just seeing them together made me happy.
I wonder what that's like for the writers, because you're writing these characters in different cities this whole entire time, and you finally get all three of them in the same room. You must be like fighting over the script.
I would think so. I don't think there's anything more fun than to take historical characters. Like, I don't know if you guys saw The Girl on HBO. It was about Hitchcock and Tippi Hedren. But when you get to play with these real life characters, and this show, it's more fun because you have creative license to take these real characters and then put them with ones that are real, but then we know with Nucky, we were able to play around with a little bit. But I love seeing the exchange between Capone and Chalky, and you see Capone is not very tolerant of what's going on. You see he's still a pighead. You see he's still
the Muppet baby.
He's a Muppet baby. He's not fully grown, and you could see there were moments he was learning.
Sure.
It seemed when Nucky was speaking, he was like, okay, yeah, maybe I am.
That's how you
Which
do
is
that.
good, though. It shows that he can listen and that he's not as hot-headed as Gyp, who wouldn't have listened.
Right,
You know, he
right.
can take that in, and that's why he goes places in his life.
And you're right. It cannot be a coincidence that he would rise to power and become the most notorious crime figure in the 20th century. So, interesting enough, we have that going on, but then we also see a nice brother moment between Eli and Nucky as they're fixing the car. And
What a beautiful arc, because we began I guess this is the third season.
Yes.
Now with them so far apart, with Eli leaving jail and coming home, and his brother not even talking to him, and now they're two guys fixing a car.
And that never felt right. You can feel really settled seeing them together. It works. It feels right.
It does.
Yes, they're supposed to be together.
It feels right, but I like that they didn't take us there in the beginning of the season.
I agree.
love that they let that naturally kind of progress, and Eli kind of graveled at the beginning, and had to really earn the trust back, because I was really not happy with Eli Thompson. I wasn't. But I feel really good about it now, because it was real. He earned it, and he deserves to sit beside his brother now.
then them even razzing each other like, yeah, you sold me that car and it was junk and it was back and forth. But then he said,
Got you guys lost.
Yeah.
But it got us where we needed to be.
Right.
It was nice. There was just a great subtext to the scene of two brothers finding some common ground. And I thought we were going to take a step backwards when he said, "You're never going to be sheriff again." And Eli reacted and said, "Don't you have to rub it in." He said, "No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is I'm finished. I won't have the power to make you sheriff." And so he says, "You'll figure it out. You always do."
You're the one with all the
angles.
angles.
All the angles.
Yeah, and then you see like the light bulb moment in Nucky's face, kind of, and he gets that he has the power that he always has.
I loved it. I really enjoyed seeing it. Over across town at the Artemis Club, Gillian, Tommy, and Gyp. We see Gillian. Tommy's in a teepee, and I'm sure being an Indian on the Indian side of things, is probably not lost. And I know back in the day it was all about cowboys and Indians, but I'm sure there's a little bit more meaning there.
And that's where Margaret wanted to go with Owen. They said we'll go with the Indians.
We'll go with the Indians, right? Great, thank you for saying that. 'Cause I didn't remember that. So, and she goes with her ham sandwich and milk.
What was
And
so funny?
Oreos.
No,
And Oreos, you're right.
What was really funny though when I saw that? I thought for whatever reason she was bringing that to Gyp, because I thought that could totally be what Gyp would like to eat.
And when she said deer, I'm like, oh, I guess that's her boo.
Because she was coming in with a tray, she was serving someone. I thought it was going to be Gyp, and because Gyp
And you saw
is
a
such
big
a
giant,
low level of
and you saw a big giant desk there too, empty of course. But I agree.
right when
was a
she said
mystery.
ham sandwich, dill pickle. It seemed like something, because when we saw him eating with his family, what were they eating? Nothing great. So I thought that was
And ham
definitely
is a
for Gyp.
pig.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw the pig's head. You're right.
And a
But-
pickle, it seems very childish. It seemed fitting for
It
Gyp.
probably was foreshadowing for what she was going to offer. She offered something to Tommy and failed, and then she later is going to offer something to Gyp and once again fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's symmetry in that.
But it was great. The kid did a great job acting. His body
awesome.
language, just get away from me. He totally read it. And we'll get into later what ends up happening. But
And such a smart kid to sense her vibe, what she's bringing, she's not good for him. Tommy knows that his grandmother isn't really good for him.
Well, kids,
He can see that. He
Kids
can read
all,
it.
a lot of kids have that sense.
It breaks my heart a little bit. I love Gillian on the show. I do.
Yeah.
I know. I know. No, there
The
are
horror on my
so many
face.
reasons to hate her. I
I
know.
know.
But she puts so much effort into this relationship with Tommy that it breaks my heart for her to be rejected by him. It
I
does.
loved it.
yeah.
That's so funny. You took the words out of my
Mhm.
mouth, except the opposite. I loved her being rejected because
Yeah.
you know we never really saw Jimmy do that. You
Mhm.
know, he kind of coaxed and appeased her even when
He
it was
would-
wrong.
Right, he would get away, but then he would get sucked
Always
back
go
in.
right back. And so
Right.
I love that. You know, it took little
I-
Tommy to stand his ground and be like, "Girl,
Mhm.
no." I said, "No, you're not coming in."
Yeah, I liked it too. I felt like this a big capital as I wrote comeuppance. Like she got her comeuppance this
Yeah.
episode.
But I also love that she didn't push her way in for the first time.
Right. She knew what Tommy wanted and she listened to it.
And I
backed
feel like
out.
that's the first time she's ever done that.
I don't think you guys. The next step would be to just poison him. I mean, what else could she do?
Yeah.
What else could she do? So she said, well, maybe it's getting him out of here. Maybe he's just freaked out. You know, you always blame other people. So, okay, so
Yeah.
it's got to be all the guns and all these crazy guys here. That's
That's true.
that's our disconnect. So then she goes to Gyp, and tries to make a deal with him. And he's like, no, that's not going to do. I'm not going to let you go. And I wouldn't let her go either because he knows he can't trust her. And he knows she could easily, to get her club back, go sell him out to Nucky. So he says, you have to stay. And then kind of this cat and mouse little sex game goes on between the two of them.
Yeah, and she didn't take her. I don't think she was as, we saw her success at killing Jimmy's lookalike,
Right.
and she was really slow and really methodical, and she didn't take the time to be as methodical. Obviously she grabbed the needle very slowly, but she didn't
She was
put as
pretty
much.
good, though. I mean, she
But in
did it-
terms of the planning, it seems like I think she should have slept with him first and gotten him really vulnerable. I thought she jumped in a little quickly. She stung a little quickly. It wasn't the right time to go in for the prey.
maybe, and I think,
Yeah.
I mean, could be. I was impressed that she was able to, that conversation just teetered on him snapping her neck. I mean, this is a guy that you look at him the wrong way as you're holding your dog, he kills you.
Yeah.
So for her to have done gotten as far as she did, I thought was amazing. So I don't take it that she didn't plan it out. It's just that this guy wasn't some schmuck like
Yeah, he
that,
saw
like
it,
that Jimmy
yeah.
lookalike
He was
just.
completely
He was just a
unsuspecting.
buffoon.
Yeah.
You know, he was just a one night stand that look at me, I got this dame and I'm gonna make some money off her. No. This is Gyp Rosetti. You know, he's a major foe. He's done a lot of damage to the town, so of course he's gonna pick up. And he said, I knew, I was hoping, but I knew, he kind of knew that he wasn't gonna be able to trust
Yeah.
her. And she got hers.
I hope she's still alive.
Well,
She is.
we'll talk
Okay.
about it as we'll get to that
You're like,
I
it's
said
okay.
later. But anyway, if you have something to say, say
I was
it.
just going to say, I said a couple episodes ago that I don't like Gillian, but I didn't mean that like I don't like her character.
Mhm.
I do like
Yeah.
watching her. I think the way they've written her is beautiful. I think she's got so many
Right.
crazy little things that drive me to, places that move me. So I do like her. And I just wanted to say that because I remember saying it a couple weeks ago that I don't like her. I do like her. It's just her.
I know
being
what you're saying. Like as a
vindictive-
villain, right?
right.
No, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're totally into the show. I think
Right.
the only, not to call you out, Bethany, I think the only person who has a problem with it, you have a problem with Margaret, right? A little bit.
I do. I do
Right,
have
but a different kind of problem.
it's-
Meaning, like with the writing and the inconsistency of the character, you've had that problem.
Yeah, I have. I because her strengths and weaknesses are so polarized at times.
I know, but I buy
and
it. I
know-
buy
yeah,
that. I
and-
buy
and-
that because she's not a Black Widow. She's not. She's
Yeah.
really struggling to find her way, and I could see her back and forth, getting sucked in with the money and the lifestyle, then getting sucked into protecting her kids, and then getting sucked into the money and lifestyle to protect her kids. I don't know. I buy it.
I buy it. I think it's just like subjectivity at this point.
Right.
Like I have more fun watching Gillian for some reason.
She's
I
more
think,
fun.
Yeah, it's just
That's
yeah,
why.
okay.
That's why.
It's just
She's
maybe
much
it's just
more
an
fun.
entertainment factor
Yes,
for me.
yes. She's
But
dynamic. She's much more
Yeah.
dynamic.
I get what you were saying, though,
Mhm.
Kristen. Like I knew you. I think our fans know too. We love the show's so well written, but I want to strangle Gillian. She's so vilified. I'm so happy
it's
she
fun
got her.
watching her.
Yeah, absolutely. And interaction between Masseria and Gyp,
Yeah.
I thought was fascinating because Gyp's body language with Masseria had changed.
Oh yeah.
He sat behind the desk.
You know what it was like to me? It was like when a cat looks really aggressive toward a really big dog. It's like, no, 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 no. You know, that's just the way I saw Gyp. Gyp was like the cat who actually is a lot weaker than the. I sometimes do really weird analogies.
It's
No,
okay.
no,
It's okay.
we're
It
following
works,
you.
though.
We
Yeah.
are following
But
you.
when you see, a cat standing up to a really big dog, you're like, who are you? You're just a little cat, and they don't realize it. And that's what Gyp was to me. He was the cat who doesn't know who he's really standing up to, and he was too cocky for his own good.
So cocky, and in the past he hasn't been. He's been so fearful of Masseria, but he was.
Got way too ahead of himself.
And when Masseria reset the clock.
You know what time? He literally said, "You know what time it is."
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all know what that means.
Yeah. Right.
That could have worked in a show written today.
Today, that's what I'm saying. Like that's a term we
Like,
we
you
use.
know
today.
what time it
You know
is.
what time it is.
Right.
You know?
And all you needed was him to reset the clock. You didn't even need him to say the line because you just knew it was no. I'm in control here.
Yep.
I'm making the moves, and I say who lives or dies, not you. But at least we got the math down. He had 9 of his own people.
Right.
And 31, Masseria had 31 of them, but I just couldn't believe how cocky Gyp was.
But that's Gyp's fatal flaw, like all season long, right? Just an absolute lack of self-awareness. And that's a delicate line because when you're someone like Gyp comes from nothing, you do have to have an almost inflated sense of self because no one else is going to make you feel
Have it
good
for
about
you.
yourself,
Yes.
right? So
Right.
that's good, but at some point you got to be able to self-evaluate, and Gyp was just never really able to do that.
So many people can't. You always need someone, I always feel too, you need somebody to do it for you.
To keep you grounded.
Yes, to say, Doesn't Corolla always talk about that? Kristen, you're a huge Corolla fan, but you have to have,
Yeah.
he has his friends from home because they tell it like it is. But I actually see it a lot with a lot of careers in Hollywood too, is I can see when they don't have somebody to say to them, no, stop. You're going too far right now.
I've heard it put this way, and maybe you think this is true. I've heard it from different assistants to stars that when you reach a certain amount of fame, you stop emotionally growing. Like that's like if it happens to you at 16, you're emotionally 16. If it happens to you at 24, you're about 24.
I'm going to be about 85.
Okay, stop. But because what happens is you're like, hey guys, let's go to the top of the Empire State Building and drink apple juice, and everybody around you
everyone
is
goes.
like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's go do that.
Right. And to bring it back to the show, and with Gyp's case, if you don't go drink the apple juice, you're gonna get your head blown off. Really.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you see that he's not learning or growing in any way, shape, form. Which look at the difference between other characters. Even like Capone, or it's hard with Al Capone. But we are seeing Al Capone learn. Like we saw him, his wheels were spinning tonight as Nucky was talking. And even like what I loved about The Sopranos, like Tony Soprano, you could see him learning and figuring things out. That's why he was in therapy. But
Even Nucky, though, too, right?
absolutely,
Like,
yes.
Nucky even the most. I mean,
Yes.
totally seeing what his limitations were this season, but also being smart enough to realize who he can reach out to and develop a new coalition.
And make those adjustments.
Yes, make the adjustments.
And it
yes.
also takes humility too, and this character doesn't. But again, I felt totally realistic because I think I've met some of these like totally narcissistic, crazy, violent, psychos that you just okay, whatever you want.
Sure.
Just appease them.
Before we get into like the fun stuff,
Okay.
let's talk about Lucky, Meyer, Masseria, Rothstein, and Doyle. That whole thing that goes down. So we see Lucky's getting beat up by the cops, and again, I'm happy because he had it coming.
He did. He's been difficult this season.
And they
to say
tell
the
him,
least.
why don't you, give us something, and maybe we'll play a little ball with you. And sure enough, he cuts a deal with them. And Meyer's like, oh my God, we just lost $100,000 and blah blah blah. And they walk into the room, and sure enough, there's Masseria, there's the heroine, and Rothstein
Who has commandeered it?
did the whole deal and reveals that the police were actually working for him.
Little bit quick legal analysis. It was a terrible deal anyway for Lucky to take because he says, "What do I get out of it?" And they say, "Well, in this case, you should be happy just to not lose." Don't ever do
Yeah.
that. Don't ever take a
Yeah.
plea
Thank
deal
you.
like
That's
that.
my attorney.
You
Yeah,
know
my
what I mean?
it does.
Seriously,
That's
like
exactly
you
what he
should.
said.
You always have a way to win with the cops. Always.
Oh, Ebony's my consigliere. I
Serious.
love it. That's why I'm a gangster.
It's true. It's true. And don't
So I
ever
got-
let them take that power from you. So Lucky lost before you even started.
Okay, so you hear everyone. That's my attorney speaking. So
Yeah.
don't leave me alone. You protect Phil too,
so
right?
Oh yeah,
badass.
Phil's on retainer. He's cool.
Hell yeah. Okay, so anyway, so Rothstein just I love him as an actor, but I'm enough with him. You know, enough with his triple double dealing and.
Enough with
And-
his
and the
lack
quiet-
of emotion.
Right,
and-
this quiet demeanor. He doesn't ever get in an uproar. He's always so controlled.
He's at extreme, as I said. I think
Yeah.
Nucky is in the middle. He's one extreme, and then and Gyp is the other. Or even now Gyp's gone, so it'll be Capone. But he makes this amazing deal for himself, and in the meantime, Doyle calls Nucky and says, "Hey, you know, Mellon really set us up. We could become the biggest bootleggers in the whole country if we take this over." And it was a faux pas because I couldn't believe Nucky revealed to him where he was. He revealed a lot of information to Doyle, and Doyle, living up to what we all knew he would be, calls Rothstein and cuts a deal, and says, "Yeah, okay, you can run the plant. I'll give you all this great information."
But if I was Nucky, I would have given Doyle the information too, because I wouldn't have thought he was smart enough to go make a deal. I wouldn't have foreseen that.
I would never give out info because he's not that smart. He's just a weasel.
He's a weasel, but he's not a smart weasel. He
He's
doesn't
not,
have the
but
brain.
he's not stupid though. He's not stupid. He's not stupid. He's just a.
well,
And by the
He
way,
was pretty
how many
stupid in the decision he made, though, with the men a couple episodes ago when he took them through.
I think that was just arrogance
Yeah.
too. But I don't know if I've known many stupid weasels. I think the whole term weasel is everyone who's just kind
Cunning.
of shrewd.
Cunning.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
cunningness
But-
to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have a point in the sense that because of his intellect and appearance, people underestimate him.
Exactly.
I mean, that's I think that's what's kept him alive this entire time. Is that we underestimate him just enough. I don't know.
No,
maybe.
you're right. You're right. Because
I would.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
looking at him, he looks a little bit like a clown. He's got that clowny voice. You know, I wouldn't give him all
the
the
high
credit.
collar,
He probably.
absolutely.
Kev
Right.
does a great laugh.
Oh, yeah.
You did it. You did it. Oh,
No,
come
it's such
on.
an easy
oh,
one,
it was
please.
so good.
So Rothstein calls up and says, "Yeah, I'll get Masseria away from Gyp, and I will need 99% of the plan." And Nucky agrees, and I'm like, "Oh
So
no!"
short-sighted of Rothstein, because if Nucky were to take that, you know he has another plan. Nucky's
Exactly.
not. He's not going to be okay with 99%
Right.
once this
He
thing
should have
comes
said,
through.
right? He should
Right.
said 25% or 50%, like let's become partners.
Yeah.
And to say 99%, and you know, the what was the quote about sometimes to catch a big rat you need big
The
bait?
quote
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was, what? Oh, a big bait to catch a big rat. But I like to say also, Rothstein should have known that was a setup because there was no negotiation. He said flat out 99% is what I require, and Nucky says yes. Come on, you're right.
Right.
If that was a legitimate, okay, let's really make a deal, that would have been back
Okay,
and
the
forth
only
for a while.
the only out I'll give the writers is the fact that Nucky is dirty, sweaty. He's literally
Well, he's
smoking
desperate.
half cigarettes like a hobo, and he's in some lumberyard.
Yeah, sure. He's
So
desperate.
maybe Rothstein's perception is getting the info that he received from Doyle
Yes.
is that he's so far on his knees
Yeah.
that he can't negotiate.
Back against the wall. Yeah, sure. I'll buy that. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again,
But-
given his lifestyle, when he comes out of this whole thing that he's going through, he's not going to be okay with 99%, and it's going to bring some sort of war after this entire thing when Nucky
It
doesn't
was.
want that 99% anymore, when
it-
he's back to his
It
normal.
was really greedy
And
of Rothstein.
Right.
And by the way, we know the way Rothstein later in his life ends up perishing, which is a big poker debt, which is what? It's
Right.
just greed and it's just overreaching.
Yes.
So really it sticks with his character to ask for that.
For sure.
So go ahead.
no, one of the quotes in this, and I think I can't say his name right now. Masseria said it. It was everybody dies, not everyone keeps their promises. Which I felt like also was examined by every character tonight. And with Nucky, he does keep his promise in that 99% deal, which I thought was really interesting.
Nucky kept his promise.
He
Yes.
totally
Why?
kept it.
What was it?
Because Rothstein was the owner, and that's why when they got indicted,
Right.
Rothstein and them went
Right.
down.
You're right.
He kept his promise.
You're right.
Yeah.
Genius. Genius. You know what was interesting? Backing up a little bit, when Lucky was these police were roughing up Lucky, they said no one's gonna remember you.
And I thought, oh yes, they are.
Yeah, and he's gonna, and of course that's the irony is that he becomes one of the most famous gangsters of the 20th century. So of course
Yeah.
they remember him.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to see that. Before we get into which we were waiting all season for. You guys, please keep going to iTunes to rate and comment, say goodbye to us, wish us well for next year. You guys have been fantastic. It's really helped us a lot, I think, as this has gone on. Also, our
Yeah.
YouTube fans have been great as well, and our numbers keep going up. We get like astronomical numbers on iTunes. YouTube, has been a work in progress, but it's really, really cool. We got something from the UK. It says, as soon as I watch Boardwalk, I put your podcast straight on. We're two episodes behind you over here. Just want to let you know you guys are doing a great job. Tariq from the UK. So this is kind of interesting. And I don't know, I probably have some other ones, but you know what? I'm going to save them. I think I'm going to save them for catches of the week.
I do want to do a quick shout out to one of them. Mike Angelo 77 on Twitter. He pointed out a lot of people did point out the poem and why it was.
I'm going to get into the poem on the catches of the week.
Right, and he sent me the link to the poem before he saw that, and
yeah, we got a lot of fans that sent me the poem. And in fact, the poem is the Rudyard Kipling poem from Two Imposters last episode.
Right.
I actually sent it out to people in my company because it was so poignant.
Yeah.
I think just to all of us in life, but we'll get into it in catches of the week. Anyway, okay, you guys. Richard, how amazing was that Richard's tear? So we see Masseretti's people all flee. His 31 guys flee, and it's just Gyp and his boys. And sure enough, marching through the place after Gyp injects Gillian, these people flee, and marches Richard,
our
on a
hero.
mission.
And when he walks in, there's a big bang of a gun. It's just the instant, like his foot hits the ground, it's just bang of him shooting a gun, and it was such a great entrance for him. It was just literally starting with a bang.
And just methodically going through and picking them off one by one by one. And I lost count at some point, but they kept coming. And he kept taking them down, and it was such patience.
The Richard video game or something.
It was a video game. I was just going to say, it was like a video game.
It was a video game. And even there was the hallway with the red lights. I said, oh my God, the red lights. I hope that's just evil. I hope that's not a precursor that Richard's going to die. Please don't make this happen. And he struggles with one guy in the hallway, and thank God, boom, blows his face off.
I know, that tension was killing.
Richard was so thorough in taking everyone out. Do you think that he walked by Gillian where she was passed out and let her go, or and bypassed
At
her?
the end of it, you mean?
Yeah.
After it was all said and done?
Yes.
No, I think his mission was to get Tommy out safely.
Right.
That was all. He was a typical soldier, so methodical. Why he is so gangster is he went in with those guns. He had his plan, and I got to get Tommy to safety, and he did.
I feel like he's the only male hero on the show.
Yes.
I feel like the rest of the guys are reluctant heroes, which are like, oh.
Or anti-heroes.
Yeah, they're like, okay, nobody else will save you, so I will. But Richard is an actual hero.
He is.
Yes.
Right, because we see his selfless behavior after he drops Tommy off to Julia's.
And by the way, what about a great arc of Pops-in-law to say, Julia just doesn't know what to do. She sees the blood. She's asking all these questions, typical of you girls, but asking all these crazy questions when things get crazy, only Ebony would hold it down. You guys would be chirping.
I wouldn't ask any
you're a
questions.
down-ass
I'd be like,
down-ass chick.
Down-ass chick.
Right, my lawyer would know what to do. You guys, like Maria, like, what happened? Oh my God! But it was great. The father came out, and he was great, and he said, keep the lights off. Take the boy and put him up in Fred's room, which is
awesome.
which is really tying up that story in a bow. Which is I lost my son, I have this boy, but now I'm getting a new son, And Richard brought, like, I get the chills even thinking of it. He saved Tommy's life, and he brought about healing to that whole family,
That family.
in that moment. And he said, "Soldier, don't bring the blood home." And it shows that he's like, "I accept you. Come on." And then Richard says, "No."
He's going back
And
up.
he's
Yeah.
and the father even says, "When you come home."
When you come home, yep, don't bring it in. I know. And then Richard is, basically says, "No, that's it. I'm a soldier. That's who I am. That's what I am the rest of my life."
As much as I want to stay here, it's just not my
Or
lot.
be within this house. I mean, let's hope let's hope he goes with Nucky, because we do not want to lose Richard Harrow on this show.
No.
No.
So, but he has made his commitment. Like, that's it. I tried being human.
Yeah.
I had my dance at the Legion
It didn't
Hall.
go right.
And you know what? Sometimes I know what he feels like.
Yeah.
Because I work, even working so hard in this business, it's really hard. You just sometimes you have to decide what you're going to be. It's really hard. Well,
Right.
Yeah,
and by the way, go
that's
back
true.
to what Jimmy said. You can't be a half gangster, right?
Yeah.
And he's not even a gangster. He's just a warrior.
Yes, he's a warrior.
He's a warrior.
Because he's not doing this for anyone else's greater good. Or for the good of the alcohol or anything. He's doing this out of
Principle.
conviction and
Yeah.
principle.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And so if that's not amazing enough, I would have been fine with Masseria's guys going back to Masseria and going to work in New York and being away from us. But no, not good enough.
No.
Chalky and Capone
Annihilate.
You call where'd you hear them all like whining? They just blow them all away.
Yeah.
And the great moment between Chalky and Capone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I needed that. Yeah, I needed that
Had
too.
to get that out of my system.
Right.
Do you think that's real? Is that? I wonder
A
about
real moment
that.
in history?
Like just in general, like does it's just the tension was building up so much they just needed to get
It's
it
almost
out.
like an orgasm or something.
Oh, that part?
Like,
Yes.
like, I don't know. I don't have a lot of
That's weird.
testosterone. I
No,
don't.
you
I
do-
don't.
you do-
I don't
wait,
like.
Bethany,
don't-
Bethany.
What?
You do not have a lot of testosterone. Are you kidding me? You cringe every single like.
I know. I have like no. I have like
you,
no
like,
testosterone.
You turn your head.
No,
everything.
I was saying I don't have. I don't have
Right.
a lot. Yeah.
So no, this is like for a guy, absolutely.
They got their rocks off. Just
Oh,
how they needed
yeah.
to.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
you know what? They both, Capone with his little man's complex and his kid being deaf and him having a scar on his face and not being really educated. And then of course you have
It's a lot of angst.
Chalky.
Yeah.
We've
Black
seen
man
that
in
at his
20s,
table,
yeah,
where he didn't feel he was educated enough, and the two of them just get to kick ass together, and they
It's a
laugh.
good little
and
punching bag.
It really was a lot. All right, let's go. And then, all right, business. Let's go back to Chicago, boys. We're all set,
Right.
and now Capone has a nice little stake in Atlantic City. Job well done. Chalky's gonna get his club. Awesome. Just great. And Maseretti is sent a message.
Right.
And I guess before we get to that message, we should talk about
The Fed
what?
stuff.
Yeah. So Mellon and Randolph, the prosecutor, get on the phone and he says, I have an illegal operation going on and I need you to take care of it for me.
Tipped off by none other than Mr. Nucky Thompson.
Yeah,
Love that.
Hilarious.
Love
She said, "So you need me to pick up Enoch Thompson, sir?" No, Mr. Thompson was the one who was kind enough to tip me off. It is and the guy has to, because he doesn't want. Who does he care about?
Right.
Arnold Rothstein, richest man in
Right.
America.
And I love that because that's so downplayed Arnold Rothstein.
Yeah.
Like
Who?
he thinks he's on a high horse, but little does he know the highest guy in the country doesn't even know.
And
who
by
you
the way,
are.
completely realistic. Like it
Right.
would be like someone in Obama's administration wouldn't know who the hell like some
Right.
scumbag
Right.
from New York crime is.
Right.
But it's like
Yeah.
Arnold Rothstein. Yeah.
Right.
And-
And we saw that earlier,
Yeah.
right? When Nucky first approached him, like, maybe you've heard of me. Or maybe not.
Or
you know?
maybe- right, or
Like-
maybe not.
Like, yeah, this guy's just on some other stuff.
Which begs the question, for this series to go into season 4, do we have to go against the feds now? I feel like we've been.
Wait, why are we getting into predictions?
Okay,
here?
okay,
Will you
okay,
save
okay.
that? Stop the
Well,
madness.
okay, I
I'm having
won't
too
do it.
much fun.
All right.
I mean, wait, Nucky took a beating for a whole season.
Yeah, but
This
I'm
is
just,
our comeback.
I'm
We'll
just,
get
I'm
into
just-
it later.
Okay, I'm really curious.
So again, well played. Rothstein just
Very
banged hard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Welcome to it, buddy.
Welcome to the real world.
And then you've got, Gillian. This was a little sad. So it seems like she's gonna live.
Yes.
We see her in the hallway when Nucky goes to kind of clean up the mess. and it got sad because she started talking as if she was 14 again, and as if Nucky, going back to the time Nucky sent her to go service the Commodore.
Yeah, you always revert back to what you know the most. And in her case, she knew being raped as a child the most, just as Kessler knew German the most. You know, they
Yes.
both reverted back,
Right.
as he did in that last episode when he was injured.
Very
That's
good. And I went upstairs, like you said, too. You know, she said, and you could see his face. He's just...
And you see that little girl in her, too, that injured, aching,
Yeah.
tender person she actually is. She's just so ruined from that moment.
I think
so ruined.
I think it's a foreshadowing that she knows who the boss is now. With Nucky,
Yeah.
I think it's like
Nucky's back.
I think everything. Yeah, and I think it's like, okay, I've experienced all the other, like I had the Commodore as a boss, I had Gyp as a boss. Like, you know what, you are. I get it. I get where you came from, and much in the way it seems like Nucky ends up being with Margaret. I think is going to be the same way. It's hard because she's on a heroin high, but it'll be interesting now because she's not going to have Tommy. You know, will she even?
She's going to be weakened.
She's not gonna have
to
Lucky
do
either.
What
Let's
they,
talk.
exactly what
you
people
know
want
what?
her
When
to.
we go to predictions, you guys, we'll go over like person to
Okay.
person, and
Yeah.
we're good with time, right, Marissa, in here. So, needless to say, moving on to Gyp, and we knew one person survived in the closet. It was great. You know, we see this guy in there, he makes a little noise, and we don't really have any interaction with him as far as we know. We just see Gyp on the beach with two of his henchmen. And up the guy from the closet comes and says, yeah, some guy in a mask kills all of us. And they're having, you know, like, wow.
And again, though, too, it's like they made fun of him when they first saw him, and he just took out everyone you know, and they're still like kind of making fun of him.
Still kind
Like,
of.
what's the guy?
Just
what's the
again,
dude in the
and you know,
mask?
to me,
Yeah.
and to
No
me,
respect.
and to
Still.
me, right, no respect. And to me, it just says that all you can do with a guy Gyp is shoot him.
Right. No,
Put him
really,
down.
they're
But
never
he's like
gonna get
an
up.
That's it.
absolute wild dog. You have to put
That's
him down.
All you can do.
Yeah.
Cannot
And
be
by
trained.
the way, and doesn't that speak to the leash around the neck, the collar that we've seen, the
Yeah.
little dog he had
Just
at the
cut off his
beginning.
balls.
He just, well, even worse, he just has to be killed.
Right.
Because it's incorrigible, and you see he's like, we'll go out west, we'll start over
Just do
again.
the same thing.
And by the way, he would have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because back then, like, you could have gone out west, they wouldn't have hunted
There's
you
not the
down.
internet.
Right, there's none of that stuff. The communications aren't what they are today. He would, and you know, he would have started right back over again. But no, Nucky's not smart enough to say no. That's not happening.
Right.
That's not happening. And he's singing the googly eyes and
Barney Google.
Barney Google, and you
It
looked
was
it up.
yeah, I looked it up, and it was a comic strip from 1919, and then in 1923 it was a song with lyrics by Billy Rose, and so it was just something popular at the time. If you see the comic strip, it does look a little bit like Nucky, kind of like the dapper goofball with like the big eyes and the tie, and
Yeah.
it would be familiar. Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It seemed like he was making fun of Nucky. Then I wasn't sure he was making fun of Rothstein, but it was probably Nucky. Now that you think of it, and he did a nice Buscemi
I
impersonation.
thought he did too.
Yeah, I thought so too.
At
I was
first.
surprised.
He came
Yeah,
out
I was curious. I was like, I wonder if he just like went over to Buscemi's trailer and was like, "Hey, do this for me real quick," and watched it. But
imitated
those are
it,
the
yeah.
actor thoughts that I have.
But talk about just
Yeah.
again a dog that had to be put down. He just didn't get it. He just was just there, and you know, this is America. I started out with nothing, so what have I lost? And you know, he's like killed all these
It's a
people.
good rationalization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of rationalized himself into wanting to move. You know,
I-
wanting to continue to build himself.
I appreciate his comic abilities. He can be so fiercely frightening at one moment, and then the next say something such as that, which is, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just do something else." And you're like, "Wow, you're crazy and funny and scary all at the same
And
time."
I'm afraid to laugh at you because that's
Right?
how
Right,
absolutely
right.
crazy you are. Yeah.
I am gonna miss Gyp. I am going to miss.
Yeah, I'll miss him.
I enjoyed him thoroughly because I found him just so unpredictable. I mean, predictable at the same time. You know, you knew something bad would happen, but you just didn't know what it was going to be or when it was in the exact moment it was going to happen. So he really kept you on the edge of your seat, and I really enjoyed that.
It's gonna be interesting to see who, and again, this is more predictions, who next year's super villain's gonna be. But he was a great super villain. I was just happy to watch him all season. I was
Me
happy
too.
to see him get his
Right.
as well.
Right.
And I loved how he, I forget the name of the henchman. It began with a T. but it's irrelevant.
Totino.
When he says to Nucky, it's done.
Tonio.
He says to him, Nucky's
Tonino.
Tonino.
There we go.
And Nucky's response is so great because he just has it in check. Tell Masseria he can either see this as the end. I'm willing to blame it all on Gyp, and we can move forward, or it can be the beginning and he can be next.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell
him what he wants.
And Masseria would go with Nucky on that.
Oh, he has to. He's been. Everyone's been.
He's
he just
Yeah.
lost 30-some of his men. Right. He's. Now we have Capone in Chicago, and well, that was Gyp's men too.
Yeah.
But you're right. Oh, you're right. With some of the other men he lost originally. Yeah, he lost 43 of his guys. Yeah. So you bet your ass, that's a gracious deal. But that's what I like about Nucky is that he's not so crazy to say we got to keep going until we take this guy out. No, we can all now go back to business. You can have your business in New York. I'm gonna have mine in Atlantic City, but we're
And Nucky talked about that with Eli earlier in the truck scene. When he talked about maybe that's where we went wrong, always wanting more.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons Nucky learned this whole series is trying to curb that appetite for always wanting more.
And I think he saw it wasn't so bad not having more because he got to connect with Kessler a little bit, and he got to connect with Chalky and the people who really cared about him, who knew his phone number.
And his brother.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think he needs to be the politician anymore. I don't think he needs all of that mentally to fulfill him.
I'm so satisfied with that arc because I felt very angry with Nucky at the beginning of this series because he was such a spacon. And now it's just like, oh, okay, all right, you're learning, you're growing, and you're vulnerable. I like you again.
And he says to speak to all of your points. He says that to Eli from now on. Right, it's only people we can trust.
Right, I don't want anyone to know my name. Only people that were already close.
No
to
more
us.
being the big shot, right?
Yes.
Like you said, the big politician. It's only gonna be about Eli, Chalky, the German.
Capone, maybe.
Well, he's just doing business with him, but I think, but he probably does trust him because of what they've been through.
Popularity has a price, and Nucky Thompson found out the hard way.
Well said.
Yeah.
That's why I stay far away from it.
And and before we get to that last scene of him, he does. We have to talk about Margaret.
Right.
And she is somewhere trying to get an abortion. She's on the fence about it. We see she bleeds. And so I had to ask, you girls, because I'm an ignorant male. I'm like, okay, so what? That's it? The baby's gone?
That's okay. I had to ask about the guns if that was like a real high.
That's why we help each other. That's why we all help each other.
Well, you can do spotting and stuff while you're pregnant.
That happens. Yes.
So I wasn't exactly sure.
No, she's got to be done.
I think she.
Yeah.
I think
no,
she just
I
had
think so too.
The abortion. And that was just some post.
Oh, she did do the abortion.
I think
So.
she did.
Miscarriage?
Yeah, no, a miscarriage. She wouldn't have been just walking out of there like that.
Yeah.
No, Kevin.
Okay.
That would've-
That's why I asked. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
And she was in the nightgown. The woman had said, "We'll get you a gown." Yeah. And so she was wearing it.
Yeah.
So
post-abortion.
Yeah.
And Nucky comes and says, as I predicted he would, you know what? Bygones be bygones.
Right.
Come back home. I still love the kids, and this is your house. And he offers her money. He says, take it anyway.
You just want her to take it. Just take it, lady.
Really?
I do. Just go back with him. That's it. You need him.
Well, she's going to.
I'm looking at her face.
Wait.
It's really
Ebony?
telling of who I am.
All right, go ahead, Ebony.
Well, no, I'm actually torn. I think she should have taken it and not went back to him, is what I think she should have done. You know what I mean? She earned that money in a lot of other ways.
Right.
And just take it, and it's a parting gift, and go about your business.
And
Like a pretty woman. She should
Yeah, but
just
still
taken
take the money, girl.
Start a new life with your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just being all Catholic and like
And
weird,
she's so
slut money.
stubborn. She always believes so much in
That's
what
you
she
Irasians.
wants.
I
You Irish.
I know.
I feel
Stubborn.
like she would have taken the money if he didn't say this is
It
only
means
money.
nothing.
It doesn't mean anything. I felt like that made it harder to take the money. Like, of course it means something because why is everybody dead? Why have we been through this war?
Right.
Because of the money.
Yeah.
This money I'll be taking killed the man I wanted to run away with, essentially.
He should have just left it at the door, and then there wouldn't have been a
And
problem.
she just
Tied up
walks.
the
She
bow.
kind of walks off into the other room.
Yeah.
And we end with Nucky walking on the boardwalk. He takes off the red boutonniere, which I think speaks to all of your points about I don't want to be in public anymore. I don't want to be the center of attention. I want to be Mr. Popular. And he just a great top shot of him just walking off.
And I think that keeps
into
him
the people
in line with what has been said for the season, which you can't be half a gangster. And I think that rose maybe makes him a little too human. It gives him a little too much.
Maybe.
I almost say the rose is the opposite. It's almost like the showpiece, you know, like the dazzle.
Right, but he's.
Carnation.
I think
The
he's
carnation,
lost.
sorry,
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
carnation.
Yeah.
I think by losing the rose, he's
Carnation.
lost.
Carnation.
Or the
No,
carnation.
it's only because our fans will kill
Right,
us. I
yes,
could
yes,
care
yes,
less.
right. I just see red and I think rose.
Right.
We lost the carnation, which I know a lot of people don't like carnations.
They're terrible.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like
Oh,
carnations.
sorry.
Why
Don't
are they
say that.
terrible?
Because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Someone sent Madonna carnations.
But by the way,
and she hates them.
it's interesting you say that they're cheap. No, but they are cheap because it probably is a cheap symbol even to Nucky.
Yeah.
It's like he's a paper champion. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
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 It's not
Yeah.
really.
It's a throwaway. Yeah.
Right. A
Right.
carnation is not a beloved flower.
Right.
But I also see though
Like that.
him getting rid of the flower. He's losing. I think he's losing a piece of his humanity a little bit, but he wants to. I think he's hardened through this whole experience. Even though he's gotten closer with certain people, he's lost that. I don't know. It's almost like your loss of innocence in a way. Obviously, he's not innocent in any way, but it's like he's shedding
But
that.
it is red, and if you red in filmmaking is usually blood. It's martyrdom. It's the devil. It's
Yeah.
Satan. So
I'm
I
being
don't-
offset by the idea that it's a flower because flowers are so delicate.
but
It's like
a
I'm
cheap,
losing
but
that.
a cheap carnation.
Yeah.
To me, it's like it. I just think it was this. He didn't have a cheap suit, but it was a guy. It was this kind of almost like vaudeville act or
That's how- a
or a
mask.
medicine salesman,
Yeah,
you know, from back
yeah,
then. You know, like
Yeah.
what were
It's a little
those
cheap.
guys who were, you know, who would sell like
A charlatan.
right, you know, it was
Yeah.
that kind of guy from that time, and
Water would shoot
and
out
I
of the
feel like
flower.
he's shedding that to become much more of a much more, instead of being a sideshow act, I think he's just going to be much more serious, much more focused. I
Right,
think it's
yeah.
about his inner circle.
That's essentially what I'm trying to
and
say.
it's like we're not here now
Yeah, you
to
guys are saying.
put on a big show anymore.
Right.
Where like that's it. I'm going to fade into the crowd. We're going to make money, and we're going to take care of our own inner
Right.
circle and F everybody else.
Right.
I think that's kind of what he.
No, which ties in so well. It really bookends it because the beginning does start off like a Broadway show, and by the end, somebody asks him his name, and he's like, "Show's over, folks. None. No more.
And he
It's
does it,
done."
and it almost like even the shot he walks off, the way he
Yeah.
walks off,
Yeah.
you could see it on a Broadway stage where they would shut the lights off and it'd be like the spotlight would go out,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I'd
and
watch it again.
we saw this too with his relationship with Billy, right? Wanting to be, you know, front and center at the shows, just wanting to
Yes.
be publicized, you know. And I love that he's come full circle from that, and just wants to be authentic and genuine. And by the way, I probably am the only one that felt this way, but I thought it was very sexy to see Enoch dressed down, and you know, rolling
Yeah.
up his sleeves,
Yeah.
getting dirty, hair out of place.
Yeah.
It was the most tender and genuine we've seen him since season 1.
Yeah.
And,
Definitely.
and I thought it was very telling visually to see
I
that.
did, and we go back to that point, and even when he was having a hard time fixing the car, and the brother laughed. It was cute. It was just
Yeah.
it was a real great
Just
moment.
a
And you know,
guy.
speaking of just great direction, and I want to say, give another shout out to Tim Van Patten because the hug. Did you guys notice the hug between Richard and Tommy
Yes,
at the end?
through the window.
Through a tiny window
Yeah.
that's blurry,
Blurry.
and I think he maybe had a spatter of blood
Oh,
on
it
it.
had blood. Yeah, it did.
And so you barely
Saw
see
that.
their images hugging, but yet you still know they're hugging. And like, what a just a great director, rather than just get the clear shot of them
Right.
hugging.
Yeah.
I
also
had to give a shout out to that because I was like,
Definitely.
wow.
I also like the shot of Gyp. I don't know how it wasn't as monumental as that, but Gyp talking to Gillian.
Gillian,
And
yes.
the camera just
Yeah.
down
on Gillian and showing just him as just
Scary.
as a predator.
Yep.
Which of course she's had her whole life. Him looming over her. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to, I think at this point, probably catches of the week. And wait,
The AfterBuzz TV
Oh wait, can I
Catch
point
of
out?
the Week.
Can I point
no,
out one
wait, you
thing
just
before we
blew
go?
Richard's.
I know.
That was our first
Oh, that
catch
was
of
the
the week
first
drop.
time. Oh my god.
I will do it again.
I know how to
Marissa's
step-
upset. Now you made Marissa mad.
All right, do it in like 30 seconds.
You
as soon as
ruined
I'm
it.
done. I really liked how they had Gyp disheveled when he did die because he took his appearance so seriously. You know, Gillian mentioned that when they were in the bedroom, and then he's standing on the beach and his shirt is open. He's, you know, he's got the wife beater on. He's no longer him. And I just like that he died like that he didn't die in this press suit that would show
They all,
dignity.
you know, maybe they all return back to what they
really are.
What they really are.
So Nucky, you know, did in a sense. Richard did. He did.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I just like that they did that he didn't die like
Yeah.
respectable
I
looking.
agree. I like that. Too.
Yeah, no, he was backed against the wall.
Exposed.
His
Die-
hair.
He was
And it was
exposed.
good to die on the beach where he began it all, where he shot that poor guy.
Right.
Yep.
You know, for no
Ooh.
reason.
You know, and where he was peeing, I thought that's probably right where that guy's head was. It was like in the position on the beach. That's what I just kept thinking. It was like he was disrespecting that again.
Yeah. With the googly eyes.
Oh, that
Okay,
killed me.
Marissa, let's go to catches of the week.
The AfterBuzz TV Catch of the Week.
Okay, see,
Should be plural, right? Catches.
yes, it should be catches of the week. All
Sorry,
right,
Richard.
Marissa, you're gonna talk to Rich Wentworth for us and let him know.
He's gonna kill me.
Okay, so we talked about the Rudyard Kipling poem. I'm going to read a piece of it again. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. And when he was speaking in German, Kessler, this is what he was saying. It was our fans translated it.
Right.
It was the poem, and you know, basically, even in life when just all these missiles are coming at you, and it's you know, keeping your head and keeping humility and not buying into it, not like Gyp bought into it. I'm bigger than you, Masseria. You know,
Yeah.
even Rothstein.
It's true.
I can take 99%. I can really, you know, it's just, it's about not overreaching. It's about keeping that balance. And it's a great poem, and I love it. And I thanks all our fans for making the translation for us. Also a shout out, which we didn't do, to Michael, the actor Michael I think it's called Michael Stahlbarg.
I don't know.
He plays Rothstein.
Oh.
But he was great in Lincoln. Did anyone see Lincoln?
I haven't seen
I'm
it
going
yet.
to
Yeah, I
see
saw it.
He
I
was great
did.
in Lincoln,
He was good.
and from our own Michelle in New York, what a quivery chin, milk for guts performance, such a contrast to the imperturbable cool of Rothstein. The man is a gem, also exhibited in Men in Black 3, but no need to go into that. I actually saw Men in Black 3, so I know what she's talking about. And imperturbable. See, I love how our fans are smarter than us. That's why, thank God, we have them. Imperturbable. Have you ever heard that?
I don't know.
Ebony, really?
No,
With your
I've
education? No?
no.
Wow. We're all stunned. Wow, we are lame. Marissa, you have a high IQ? Nothing?
Okay.
Imperturbable? Imperturbable? We're lame. Okay.
You can Google
But
it.
no, but that's why we have our fans, and we thank you. Okay, Gillian, firing Richard the way she did may have been so she could operate from outside of the house to save her grandson in the business. So obviously we see that wasn't going to be the case. Saying that Gyp wanted him out in such a public and humiliating way was intended to raise anger in him and directed at Gyp. While looking through Richard's personal stuff, she may have learned what an accomplished assassin he was and figured out a way to snipe her. Figure out that he'd be a great sniper and be able to take care of matters from afar, but I didn't believe that. But Thomas from Pittsburgh, usually on the money, but no, not this time. I don't think she had that planned. I don't think she knew Richard was coming back.
No, that's why she took matters into her own hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, from the Boardwalk Empire AfterBuzz TV MVP Michael August, the book Ragged Dick. Remember the
Yes, that he was reading.
It's about a young shoe polisher's rise to middle-class respectability in 19th century New York City. He has a strict code of ethics and will not steal under any circumstances. He gets ahead by his good virtue, namely with the assistance of people who respect his values. He builds wealth by being frugal and is taught how to read and write by his roommate. In essence, a rags to riches tale with major theme of gaining respect. So, relating to Boardwalk, Nucky earned his wealth and respectability, while Gyp believes in just taking what he wants and doing as he pleases. And to go further, Chalky is helping Nucky because he respects him and has been treated well by him. This also ties into themes throughout the season regarding good hygiene and proper speaking. I saw some symbolism in Richard holding the key and the sand from the beach falling out of his pocket. To me, that represents his chance at a life with Julia. And how cool was that scene when Capone comes to join the war? Even cooler is the fact that the name Alphonse means ready for battle. As for the Magadino reference, the Buffalo crime family, was also known as the Magadino crime family and gained power through bootlegging at the time of Prohibition. And coming down the road is the Castellamaris War of 1930 to 31, which namely had Joe Masseria as an enemy. Look to be planting some roots here for future season of Boardwalk Empire, namely the events leading to Masseria's demise and the Muppet Babies' ascension. And then over in our after blog for Two Imposters, pretty cool. And by the way, Two Imposters, we were all wondering about what the title was from. It was actually from the Rudyard Kipling poem. Had I kept reading it, they mentioned Two Imposters, and to be aware of both imposters, right? It's basically being aware of there's two different sides to you, and being humble enough to, I don't know when things are bad, but know when things are good, and anyway, know that they both can be imposters, right? Was it something like that?
Essentially.
About anyway.
I'm not any good at translating.
Look, do yourselves a favor. I didn't want to read the whole poem, but look the whole poem up. It's a beautiful poem. It's actually great for.
It's right
life.
on our YouTube page.
Is it?
I think so. I think the whole thing's up there.
Great for life and living. Okay, so from Jason, I just want to take a little excerpt from Jason Scomata's After blog, which you can find on our website, AFTERBUZZTV.com/afterblog. And you can click on Boardwalk Empire, Jason Scomata. And the great quote here, the show presents an ethos so rich we are compelled to draw parallels to ancient myth, modern politics, the fall of Rome, the plot lines of fairy tales, and the gangster ethics of big business. But watching Two Imposters, the latest and most widely entertaining episode thus far, I was reminded that this is a noir crime story at its core, a saga of bad men with guns taking towns by force, setting fortresses aflame, and conducting shady business in alleyways and brothels and shotgun shacks on the edge of town. And he goes on and on for like I don't know, another few pages. Really, really good and really great insight. So we ask you to keep checking that out and to leave him comments as well. And I guess, do we have any news and gossip, or do we go to predictions?
No, predictions.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Kristen, you're killing us!
It's not that big of a deal. It's just being
Nice.
TV news.
news being broken that Bobby Cannavale is dating Rose Byrne, the Australian actress. They've been seen out and about and canoodling.
All right, here, I'm bad. Barbie Carnival, who's that?
That's
the
who
show.
plays
Gyp
Gyp.
Gyp
I know you
Rosetti.
guys are on them because I'm a guy, so
It's all
I don't
right.
know his name.
I actually just
I don't know who Rose Byrne is.
I know Rose Byrne.
She's pretty. She's
pretty.
Bridesmaids, right?
Yeah.
Bridesmaids.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm jealous of her.
Well, best of luck to them in their relationship.
Well, the reason like you said, we're girls. I have a mini crush on Bobby Cannavale.
All right, great. And in
I
a
do.
year and a half, we'll see when we're back doing this show, we'll see if they're still together.
Well, Ashley
he'll come talk
Simpson
to
and the guy that plays Lucky Luciano, they're still together
They're
after 2
still
years.
together.
So, yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. So my crazy big band news segment.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
That was it.
Predictions.
Good.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Oh, boy.
predictions.
You know, this is what we'll do. Let's go over name by name, and we'll just go around the board.
Okay.
Okay, so Rothstein.
Comeuppance.
Yeah, if indicted, he'll do some time, come out with a chip on his shoulder.
Really?
I mean, he's supposed to live for a while, isn't he?
He lives. I
he's
think
got
he
some
lives.
more time.
I think he does live to the late 20s.
Yeah.
You know
it,
what?
It just depends on when the show will.
That's
will-
the big prediction, which I guess
Right.
none of us can answer. Will
Yeah.
we pick back up where we left off, or will they cut
Fast
ahead to
forward.
1926 or 27?
Okay.
So-
That's,
That's my guess.
Your guess is they're going to cut ahead.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ebony?
I agree. They're going to
I
cut
think
ahead.
they know they might not have the most time in the world.
Right.
Yes.
I think it would be best for dramatic effect to go to the end of Prohibition because we've spent 3 years.
Ooh.
We've spent 3 years in Prohibition.
I think
so
that's
it's like
too
really,
fast. I think it's too fast.
It's just so. It's
Because
just
then
so
the prohibition's
hard.
what, 33?
Yeah, it was 13.
Yeah.
It's
we
13
can
years.
break
Yeah, I
it
think
up.
that's too far. But because so much crazy stuff happens in 29, you have the St. Valentine's Massacre. I mean, there's like.
Okay,
But I
Which
think
has to do with O'Banion, by the way, which
Right.
actually came about by O'Banion's.
so. I would
murder.
say I think the
So.
overall prediction is that we're gonna go 3 or 4 years ahead.
Me too.
We're 23 now, so probably I would think I would think
26.
26 27. Yeah.
Jillian.
She'll get sober. She'll
Yeah.
come down off of her high.
Yeah.
And I think maybe she just goes back to what she knows best and just tries to find somebody else to help take care of her.
I think she was meant to die in this episode. I really do. But
and
I think they love her so much, and the fans love her so much. They did us a favor and kept her alive. So thank you, Terrence Winters. Thank you for keeping her alive. So I have no idea where they're gonna go with her.
Kristen.
I think she's going to be pretty submissive to Nucky, and I think she could maybe come in handy with Nucky if they get back in
I think
good
so,
graces.
because she can be quite, if used properly, she can be quite a soldier. Okay,
Exactly.
Richard. Bethany, start with you.
Oh God, I have no idea, Richard. I mean, he's gonna have to start working for Nucky or Capone, but he's going to soldier on.
I think he starts working with Nucky, but not in the same way that other people have worked for Nucky. I think he'll have a little more autonomy in his relationship.
Does Nucky know Richard well enough to let him in? Because
He does,
Richard-
yes, because they did. Remember, they had that nice exchange, and he didn't. And he
yeah.
didn't take Jimmy's death personally enough to come back and kill Nucky and his
Right,
family.
right.
So, and Nucky, I think, has a soft heart for people like that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Where do you think Richard was walking off to when he was going to continue on?
I think he's going. I think it's just lone soldier.
Right.
Yeah.
It just was more symbolic.
A lone soldier.
Right,
mhm.
right.
I assume
Yeah.
he was under the boardwalk. Do you know what I mean? Like
Going back to the
to-
freaks and the misfits,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, on the thing. I think,
Yeah.
I think it's working for Nucky and Mike August. I think it was Rothstein maybe, who was taken out really in history. And God, this sucks because our fans are gonna get so mad. But it might have been Rothstein or Masseria. I think it's Rothstein who's actually taken out with a bullet from an army rifle of some kind,
Yeah.
and it could very well.
Wait,
end up,
I think that was Bugsy Siegel.
was it Siegel?
It
That's
was
right.
Siegel.
Thank you.
Yes,
It
yeah.
was Siegel.
Yeah.
So who knows if that's not what we do with Richard?
I can't wait to see the season where he fixes the World Series.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Right.
That's gonna be awesome, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Didn't that already happen?
Did it already happen?
I think
oh,
it
I
already-
think it already did. It
No,
already
it already
happen?
happened. It
Oh,
started
man.
1919. Yeah, it started.
Sorry,
We're
guys.
gonna get
I
creamed.
know. That's
guys
it.
are
It's
really
over.
sorry. We're
I'm
just-
dead.
We're just fans. We just really like the
I
show.
just got really excited.
Leave us alone. Okay, Bethany, it'll be all right. Maybe you're right. You never know. You might be right.
1919.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it already happened.
All right.
next year.
So no,
well.
he's got bigger problems that are coming his way. We will continue to see the rise of Meyer and Lucky.
With Meyer, I think being more at the forefront because I think Lucky's shown himself to be pretty irresponsible this season.
He's a
Oh,
bit of the
yeah.
wild
Yep.
goose, a wild cannon, and then also, with Rothstein's waning power, we'll probably see Meyer rise up. We'll also see, I'm sure we're going to see Bugsy Siegel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him. I think, someone like him, we need him now that Gyp's gone. Bugsy Siegel was known to be erratic and kind of cuckoo, so it'd be nice to have his personality.
And I'm trying to think, Margaret.
Oh, God. I don't know.
I don't know what she plans on doing.
I think they're gonna get back together.
Yep.
It's like a crazy narcissist codependent relationship. They're bound to. It would
I don't
be
think she
it would
has any
be
other
really weird if they
cards.
didn't.
I think that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have any other cards to play, I don't think, at this
Yeah.
point.
No.
Eli and Nucky obviously working together,
Stronger and stronger.
stronger and stronger. Chalky running the club,
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome.
part of the army. So I think it's a lot of outside forces that come in these next few years. I think between Chicago, New York, and even Mellon. We
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen with
The
Mellon.
politics game, I think, is going to pick up tremendously.
From outside forces, though, because
Yes.
that's so
Yeah.
you'll see Chalky and this like core group kind of work together
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean, how much longer can there be warring factions between the tribes, so to speak? So I think the feds and the politics are really gonna just speed up in season 4.
Yes.
But honestly, and don't hate me for saying this, but I'm very content right now. Like everything's rounded out so
we need it,
well.
but we
There's no
need it.
cliffhanger for
Okay,
me
but-
at this
but
point.
you
So
know
I'm
what?
like,
Yeah, but they beat us up
everything's
enough.
okay.
Yeah, but they beat us up enough. And remember, these shows go away for too long. Like this is gonna be gone for a year and a half. Who knows? It's never fast. We needed this a breather.
You
I
think?
think
Okay.
I hope the writers too took into consideration all the comments saying we need more Chalky and we need more Van Alden.
Yes.
Van Alden. So Van Alden, we know it's probably working with Capone. Maybe like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He got left out of the finale, but we'll be seeing a lot of him.
Yes.
Right? We all
Yeah,
agree
in a
with
big
that.
way.
Yeah.
So I think I think we're cutting forward a few years, and I think it's outside forces attacking New Jersey. And it's interesting because of what goes on in history in those late 20s with Capone's rise to power and all the real gang wars that take place. So I think by cutting forward and getting to that, we're going to have a very cool season in another 3 years whenever they bring it back. Now, they're better than some of the other networks.
I don't mind where they go because wherever they go from this point is just going to be continued great clothing and attire.
Yeah.
You're right.
Always.
So I'll be visually stimulated no matter what year they go to because I love the 20s through the late 40s. I'm down.
Okay, well, Bethany, where do I find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Bethany with an IE.
It's very nice. And Ebony. Oh, no.
You can find me at Ebony K, EBONI_K.
And you can find me at Kristen Carney. It's pretty simple. KristenCarney.
Okay, and at Marissa Movies with one S.
No, I actually changed it.
Look
You
at
made it
you,
work.
I
Marissa!
changed it. It's Serafini TV.
Serafini TV.
Nice.
For you, Kevin.
What about Marissa TV? Was it taken?
It was already taken. There were so many variations of my name that were already taken.
Serafini
Serafini
TV.
TV.
I like it. It kind of rhymes.
I like it. Yeah, it's
Thank
cute.
you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this has been fun.
You guys, this
I
is
know,
so
this
much.
was amazing.
I know.
We're all so bummed that we're not
Until
going to be able
next
to watch
year.
this show together.
Yeah.
This is really like the show that I
That's-
am really into, so it's hard to not have this for
well,
a while.
We can watch it again on HBO Go with all the little specials and extras.
Yes.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Is that like a little too geeky?
No, nothing's geeky
Okay,
enough.
I'm down for that.
It's just such good stuff. You guys, and the fans, you guys were great as fans. I thought we had great interaction with people all over the world
Yeah.
on this show, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And, I don't know. So,
I know.
bye, everybody. And I guess we'll see you in another year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
I'll
I'll be done by
everybody.
then. I'm just kidding.
What's that? You'll be what?
I said I'll be dead by then.
No, what are you talking
no,
about?
I don't know.
Don't say that.
Just assuming.
Kristen.
I just assume.
Crazy.
It's if things go well.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
wait, dead by then. What?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm weird.
Talking
I'm
like me.
I'm hot. I'm tired.
All right, I am
It is
hot
hot
too.
in here.
It's very hot. Okay,
Whoa, I'm flashing people.
I'm sweating. Take us out, Marissa.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you
you
later.
Bye.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.